Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody. It's your girl T, aka the nappy-headed jojoba, here with a bit of a haul. The Sephora spring sale just ended a day or two ago, at least as of when I'm recording this. As a Rouge VIB member for what is almost certainly my last year qualifying, I was able to pick up a few things at 20% off. Now, some of you will remember that prior to the sale, I did do a video where I discuss some shopping techniques basically to help us not lose our friggin' minds during the sale. I mean, after all, 20% off or 15 or 10% off, none of these are very impressive discounts. The question is, did I heed my own advice? The answer? Yes. Yes, I did. For the most part. If you fell for the thumbnail, fooled you. I shopped only within my budget, and not only that, I spent less than what my maximum budget was. The only place where I deviated from my plan was, again, if you saw that video that I did prior to the sale about, just not losing my mind. One of my suggestions was to limit your overall number of transactions so that you don't keep going back to the store or keep going back to the website and placing another order and picking up another thing, picking up a few more things, and then end up spending way more money than you had planned to or that you can afford to. My plan was to do one online purchase and one in-store purchase. I like to shop online because then I can get my cash back and every penny counts, but that's not exactly how things worked out. Here's what happened. Before the sale actually started, I made sure to go to a Sephora and do a little bit of recon. I swatched what I needed to swatch. I looked at the actual colors of things that I had been eyeing whenever possible, and then I was able to build my cart much more accurately without having to worry about exchanging or returning too many things. That way, once the sale actually began, I was able to place my order within the first couple of days. I think I placed my Sephora order on day 3 or so once it opened up for Rouge. And the only reason I placed a second order was of one of the items I wanted. I knew it was coming to Sephora during the sale, but I knew it wouldn't be there until toward the end of the sale. So I decided not to wait to place my entire order because I didn't want to risk the other items I wanted going out of stock. So I got everything I wanted and then basically waited for that other item to come into stock, placed an order for that one, and then ya basta, I was done. So there you have it. I made 2 overall transactions. It just wasn't one in store and one online. It was 2 online, meaning I got cash back for both, and I stayed under budget. So I actually am really happy with everything that I got, and I feel more empowered as a shopper. I feel much more happy with the things that I got because they were much more mindful purchases, things that I felt were either lacking in my makeup stash or things that I had been eyeing for a long time and decided to wait until I could try to get them at a bit of a discount. So it actually is much more fulfilling to have thought carefully about everything I got rather than just grabbing 1,800 things and then not wanting to even look at my credit card statement. So let's jump into what I actually got. Let's start off with the item that I was actually waiting for that required me to place the second order, and that is the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm Face Palette. I really do not like saying Glowgasm. Y'all know I ain't no prude. It's just kind of a cringy name. But here is what the actual palette looks like. It's a bit hard to see because it's very light in color, and the light from my window as well as my ring light are kind of reflecting off of it there, but who cares about the packaging? Not me. I care about what's inside. And this is a face palette with a highlighter, a bronzer, and a blush and sort of like a blush highlighter situation. This came in 2 shades. There was Lightgasm, which is for light to medium skin tones, and this is the Lovegasm. I am wearing the highlighter and the bronzer right now, but I also have another product underneath the highlighter, which I will talk about in a moment. This is just 4 of those baked gelée type texture powders, which can be used on skin and eye. I mean, it says that on the back, but you can do whatever the hell you want. Once you buy something, it's yours. Frankly, I definitely didn't need another highlighter nor another bronzer, but I was just really interested in trying this texture because a lot of you guys know how much I enjoy Charlotte Tilbury's line. And this is a limited edition product, so I figured, you know what? Not only is it limited edition, I can get it with a bit of a discount. Now is the perfect time So far, so good. I'm quite pleased with it because of that gelée texture. I do recommend, if you decide to pick this up, to get a semi-dense brush to use with these powders, just so you can actually pick up that product and spread it and buff it out over your skin more easily. I was happy to see that the bronzer does indeed show up on my complexion, but it is a bit sheer, more buildable, which I like because I do find that some of the bronzers I have are a bit too intense, and then I have to spend a lot of time trying to sheer them out, essentially. So I'd rather start sheer and build. So I'm already very happy with this purchase, even though I've only used it the once, which was to get ready to film this right here. If you're one of my real ones, you know that I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of powder products. I find that they're often just too intense. I like very realistic, skin-like looking products. I tend to prefer more cream and liquid products just because I feel like they blend a lot better with the skin. They look more realistic, much more subtle, which is my personal makeup taste. And I feel like this is the perfect go-between for the days where I might not have the time to be fussing with a liquid or cream product, but I still just want that same effect. As a lover of cream and liquid products, I couldn't resist this when I swatched it in store. I already had it on my wish list. I just wasn't sure which shade to get. And this is the Kevyn Aucoin Glass Glow Face Illuminator. So this is a liquid highlighter. This is the shade Spectrum Bronze. There are two other shades. There's one that's sort of a white, I guess more holographic almost, or iridescent sort of situation. And then there's a pinky one, and then there's this one. Looking at this online, I was afraid that the shade would be perhaps a bit too deep, more of a bronzer. But when I was able to do my recon in store, which is always something I recommend you do, I was blown away by just how pretty and just shiny, but not ridiculous or Instagram makeup-y it looked. This is really perfect for me as someone who likes a certain style of makeup for my real life, and it doesn't really fit in with the type of makeup that you see on YouTube or Instagram or on social media. I definitely do my own thing, and this is right up my alley. Again, I am wearing this one today underneath a bit of the Charlotte Tilbury one. Realistically, I probably would have just done one or the other, but I wanted to try to at least test out as many of these things as possible so I could do mini reviews as we go. You also get a full 30 mils in here, which is 1 fluid ounce. So you basically get the amount of product you would get in a foundation with this. This is that glass skin highlighter that I've been looking for. I also really love my Becca stick one that I showed you guys pretty recently, I think in my last Get Ready With Me. I love that one too, but because this one is a thicker texture, I think it's going to stay in place a lot better and last longer on the skin, which I'm really excited about. Let me just show you guys really quick. Let's do a little swatcheroo. So here it is on my hand. And you can see it's that beautiful sheen. You can use less for a more subtle effect, or more if you want something a little bit more Instagram-y. It has almost a cross between a balm and a cream type of feel, or maybe a gel. It's not tacky at all. It's very smooth feeling. So I'm excited to work with this. I'm really excited to have it for summer, and I'm so glad I picked it up because I was on the fence about it, but again, going and swatching it in store, she's like, oh, this is definitely going in my cart. Next up is the Natasha Denona Mini Lila palette. Here is a closer look at the shades. Many of you guys know that I am a sucker for purple. I mean, purple is my power color. So I've been eyeing this one for a long time. It is $25 normal price, and I think that's very fair because, for one thing, it's pretty small. A lot of people complain about how small it is, but regardless of how small this is, I'm never going to hit pan on these in my lifetime, so that's fine. I remember seeing Kelsey Brianna J do a review of this quite some time ago because this is not a new palette by any means. And the tones of these purples, these two in particular, just look so unique. These two on the end, they didn't look like any of the other purples that I have, and I have my fair share of purple eyeshadows. And when I saw them in person, I was like, confirmed, these are very unique tones. And I would say that working with these, particularly the matte shades, because on my eyes today, I have these three. I didn't dip into these at all. I didn't really honestly care about these two shades on the end at all. But I've been getting a lot more experimental and off the beaten path with my makeup lately. I wanted to do something a bit different, so I went completely matte on the top And then I have this one on my bottom lash line. This color, Poison Berry, is all over my lid. And then I blended out my crease with Raisin here, the center shade. And then Blue Dahlia I have all along my lower lash line with Raisin again, just to smoke it out underneath. So here is a closer look at it. You know, your typical springtime fresh bridal type of look. Very impressed with the pigmentation, very impressed with how my look turned out, very impressed with the uniqueness of these two shades in particular, as I said, but I would say that these are not entry-level formulations. I did have to deal with a bit of patchiness with these two matte shades that I used, so if you're a beginner, this may not be for you. It might be a bit frustrating. I mean, definitely an amateur, but I've done my makeup enough times for enough years now to know how to work with things that might be a bit more tricky, like some of these mattes. I mean, I don't really know what to say about these because I haven't used them yet. I feel like these are very dime a dozen type of shades, but if I wanted to take this with me on a trip or something, I could at least get a basic bitch type of daytime look out of this. Regardless, if you were interested in Natasha Denona and you just like shades like this, I think that this is a great value. I would have bought this at regular price, honestly, because I think $25 is fair for a luxury brand where you're getting this many colors to try. But I was like, if it's going to be around for the sale, I'm just going to wait for the sale, which is what I did. I'm not sure whether this is limited edition or not. I feel like it did say it was, but I decided to roll the dice, and I'm glad that the dice, I got snake eyes, baby. Is that the good one? I don't know. I don't gamble. Let's move into a couple Fenty items. This is the Fenty Gloss Bomb in the shade Fussy. I have all of the Gloss Bomb shades. I think there's only 3 at this point, but I have them all. And I usually tend to pick up another one during the sale because I tend to just have them all over. Like I'll have one in one jacket pocket, one just, you know, in my gym bag, wherever, because these are the glosses that 50 to 70% of the time are the ones that I carry with me when I go out somewhere. So I always just like to have extras around. Fussy is the newest shade. This is the more pinky one. I am wearing it right now on top of my NARS Balm that I showed you guys in my Catfish Beat video. I know that this one is slightly less popular than the original, which I think is called Fenty Glow. That one's more peachy. This one's obviously pretty pink, but my natural lip color is pretty pink, so I just prefer Fussy to the original, but I do like them all. A lot of you guys will also know that Fenty recently came out with their bronzers because everybody and their mama was putting up videos about them. I was on the fence. I did want to try them because, you know, the hype, basically. But I noticed that Sephora was carrying this little set where you could get the Sunstalker bronzer in the shade Caramel Cutie, which, after doing my recon at the store, I confirmed was the correct shade for me. And then also a matchstick in the shade Cinnamon. And I've never tried any of the Fenty matchsticks. I haven't tried a ton of Fenty stuff because I only fall for the hype like 50%. Usually I'm against little sets like this. And being the nerd that I am, I did actually crunch the numbers to calculate, you know, based on how many grams I'm getting in this and that, how it compared to just buying the full-size bronzer. Because to me, it wasn't necessarily worth it to buy the full-size bronzer because I have bronzers that are nowhere near hitting pan. So I really just wanted to try this to try it. So it made sense for me to get a little one because that will allow me to try it and then also try another product for roughly the same value it would have been to just get only a bronzer. I'm not wearing this on my cheeks today because I have the Tilbury bronzer on from the face palette, but I do have this in my crease. A lot of you guys know that whenever I start an eye look, the first thing I do is I lay down some bronzer to shape out my eye, create my crease since I have hooded eyes, and to just be my transition color. And this is great. I'm actually really glad I bought this. This is going to be a great tone. I love that it's completely matte because some of my bronzers, my favorites of all time, are the Hourglass ones, and those are, there's a bit of a sheen to them. So this will be a great option if I want to be completely matte on my eye, as I was today with the eyeshadows I use from Natasha Denona. And then of course we have the little matchstick, which I have not even swatched yet. Okay, it's sort of a coppery color. I don't think you can see that all that well, but it's right there. It's kind of a coppery color. To be honest with you, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It's not really appropriate for a highlighter shade. It's a bit too sheeny for a blush for my personal taste. But I am happy about this. I'm looking forward to trying it on my actual face and not just on my eyes as a transition shade. So that's it for Fenty. Next up, I got a blush from Surratt in the shade Cantaloupe. This has been on my wish list literally for years. I don't know why I've been emming and erring over buying it, probably because of the price and the fact that I'm not that much of a blush gal. I'm very persnickety about my blushes. I tend to prefer cream blushes, but I just couldn't find a color like this anywhere else. I mean, the shade name is perfect. It really is cantaloupe colored. And I thought that this would be the perfect summertime blush when I don't want to go with a full-on orange like NARS Taj Mahal or something like that. Or my beloved Danielle Sandler bright orange. I think it's called Trip. I can't quite recall, but this just seemed like a softer option to the orange blush that I know works so well on my skin tone and so many other people of color. And since I haven't successfully found a dupe that is quite like this, I decided to go ahead and pull the trigger. I am wearing it right now. Again, this is more real life makeup that I want to be able to wear in real life and feel like I just look nice and not like I'm wearing a fuck ton of makeup. I will say the packaging is pretty flimsy and cheap for something of this price tag, but that's because this is intended to be put into a palette. It's not crazy pigmented. It's not the type of blush where you have to be super careful and just dab your brush in one time or else you risk having like doll cheeks, but you can build it up to be more intense. So I'm also very, very happy with this. The particular Sephora I went to, I don't think they had a Surratt gondola, so I wasn't able to swatch it in store, but I know I have in the past because I've been stalking this blush for so long. And I honestly really love how it looks today, especially how the color complements the purple eyes, the purple and the kind of cantaloupe-y peachy situation. Really happy with my makeup today, you guys. And here we have a lipstick, which is from the Sephora brand. These are their little Lip Stories lipsticks, and I've been looking for a shade like this, a lipstick color like this, for so long, and I just couldn't find what I wanted. Originally, I had a color by Bite Beauty in my cart because it was actually already on sale because I think they're discontinuing the line of lip colors by Bite. But I couldn't find it in store to swatch it, and I had such a specific vision of what color I wanted in my mind. So when the Sephora I went to didn't have it, I was like, let me see if I can find something from another brand as an alternative, because even at half price, that Bite Beauty lippy was more expensive than this Sephora brand one, because this one was already very inexpensive even without the sale. The shade I have is called Take a Bite, number 35, and what I've been looking for is a coral lip color, but with my complexion, coral can be really tricky. It can look all sorts of wrong. I can't tell you how many things I've looked at through swatches online, thought it was right, and then when I went to store to actually see how it looked so bad with my complexion when I went to actually test it out. So I'm glad that I stumbled upon this because this was exactly what I was looking for. Here you can see it. It's not too orangey, it's not too red, it's not even too coral. It's that perfect mix in terms of what I was looking for of the combination of those tones, but definitely leaning more toward coral. The Pantone color of the year is Living Coral, and I've been living for that theme. So I can't wait to wear this because I feel like I've been looking for this type of coral for myself for years, and then just having that Pantone color of the year in my mind has made it a little bit more urgent than it has been, and this is exactly what I wanted. So I was really happy to find this and to even save a little bit of money during the sale. Last but not least is an item from Vax Von D. This is her Alchemist Holographic Transformer in the shade... I don't know what the shade is. I don't think it says it here on the box, but a lot of you guys might recall from a couple years ago, I included her full-size version of these holographic transformers. There's 4 other shades that come in a palette together, and that was in my year-end favorites, whatever year it was that I first picked it up, and I still use it all the time. This color is kind of a solo one. It's a teal aquamarine color that is not included in that palette of 4, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have bought this. I don't know why I picked such an awkward place to swatch, but there it is next to the lip color. You can kind of see it. I think that calling these holographic transformers is the perfect description because they really can completely change your makeup look or even just give it a little bit more interest. I love to use these as an inner corner highlight, and I love having the different tones so I can pick one that most complements or even completely contrasts with the look that I've created. If I'm getting super avant-garde experimental with my makeup, I will sometimes actually use these as a highlighter on the cheek, like if I'm going to a day party and I just want to do something a bit more fun, a bit more quirky, these are really cool. And as someone who loves teal aquamarine colors, I always have, it's up there with purples as one of my favorite tones, which is odd because I actually hate blue. Like, I'll wear stuff that's blue here and there, but I despise, for example, blue eyeshadow, like a cobalt blue, hate it. But I love teal, aquamarine type of things. So I'm really excited to have this to be able to work into looks that I do like that. I mean, I did a teal eye just a few videos ago, and I wish I had had this to just make it even more interesting. So next time around, it's going to be really fun to try to do a different version of that look with this. There you go. That's what I got in the Sephora sale. I'm not only chuffed with myself for sticking to my plan for the most part, except for that one asterisk of 2 online orders, but I feel fine about that. But it's so much more fun to actually be really excited about everything that I've gotten, because the things that I've tried out, I love, and I can't wait to use them more, and I can't wait to try out the things that I haven't used just yet. So that's gonna do it. Let me know if you did well during the sale, if you stuck to your guns, or if you just said fuck it, and I mean, if you wanted to go buck wild, if that's what you did. That's gonna do it for me today. I feel like I got everything I wanted and still had a very reasonable Sephora haul. So thanks for hanging out with me while I showed you my Sephora sale spoils. But there were some other things that I wanted and I took out of my cart. So if you're interested to see that video, I will link it right here. And beyond that, we're done for today. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
That's some nappy-headed hose there, I'm going to tell you that now.